Hi everyone, this is Facia with Simlpy Lavish at Home, and I am in gift giving mode. Every year for Christmas, I give my family and friends some special homemade treat as a thank you for all their love and support throughout the years. I make it homemade because it shows that little bit of extra love and that little bit of extra effort. Usually it's some cookies or cake, but this year I decided to go with some homemade hot cocoa mix and homemade marshmallows. Check it out. So for our homemade marshmallows, the first thing you want to do is gather up your ingredients. These, thankfully, are things that you probably already have around the house. So first you'll need some white granulated sugar, 3 cups, 1/3 of a cup of powdered sugar, 1/3 of a cup of cornstarch, 1.5 cups of water, and also 1/3 of a cup of water, and 3 tablespoons of gelatin and vanilla. First thing you're going to want to do is proof your gelatin. So we're going to take the 3 tablespoons of gelatin and pour the 1/3 cup of water over it and let it sit for 10 minutes while it expands and soaks up the water. While your gelatin is hanging out, prepare your pan. Here I have an 8 by 11 pan. The recipe actually calls for a 9 by 12. But this is what I had, so I've lined it with parchment paper and brushed the parchment paper with oil. Make sure to use a flavorless oil because you don't want to interfere with the flavor of the marshmallows. Here I use regular vegetable oil, canola oil will work, but definitely don't use olive oil. Next thing we're going to do is dissolve our sugar in the 1.5 cups of water over low heat. Make sure all that sugar gets in there and dissolves. Stir it. Now that we've dissolved all the sugar, I went on and added our swollen gelatin right to the pan. And you're going to raise the heat up and bring that to a boil. The gelatin, sugar, and water mixture starts to boil. And you want to leave it here for 15 minutes at a steady boil, not a very rapid boil, but a constant bubbling, and leave it without stirring for 15 minutes. So now our 15 minutes have passed. I'm just going to turn this off, remove it from the heat, and let it sit until it's lukewarm. Now while we wait for our marshmallow mixture to come down to room temperature, it's a good idea we get our cocoa together. So for this you'll need 2.25 cups of unsweetened cocoa powder. I actually use 2.5 because I like it to be extra chocolatey, and 3.5 cups of white granulated sugar, and a tablespoonful of salt. And this could not be any easier. You just mix it up. Use a rather large bowl because cocoa powder can really kick up a lot of dust, if you will, because it's so fine. And adding in our tablespoonful of salt. And just whisk that together. Whisking helps to break up any lumps that might be in the sugar or in the cocoa powder. Just get that together. You want to mix that thoroughly. For your own use, if you like to add cinnamon at this point, or a little cayenne pepper or chili powder. If you've never tried chili powder in something chocolate, I suggest you try it. It's delicious. But if you wanted to add something like that, you can add it at this point. It's really up to you. And I'm just going through making sure all the little lumps are mostly out. There's going to be some tiny little pebbles, but that's fine. Now for the purpose of giving, I have found these 2 little tin cans. They're incredibly cute at the craft store. You see people put them in mason jars, but I decided cans were a little bit more modern and chic, so found these on clearance. And so these 2 are going to be what I give to people. Okay, now our mixture is cool enough, so I am going to pour it into my mixer's bowl. And I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. And we're gonna whisk it until it's white and fluffy and ready to go. Now that you've successfully beaten this mixture, and it's gonna take probably about a good 15 minutes to get it to the right color and consistency, you should have a thick, white, glossy, ooey gooey mess like this. Now this will be good for the kids to get them, and they have the fun part of licking the whisk. You don't even really have to be a kid. I'll probably do that off camera. Now you're gonna wanna get this into our prepared pan. So with a warm spatula, you kinda wanna warm it. Make sure it's dry. You're gonna just scoop that right in here. And you're gonna wanna take some of the cornstarch and the powdered sugar that we had and mix that together. And we're just gonna put a little in this sieve and dust the top while we leave that to set. So these have sat overnight. I just pulled it right out of the pan with the parchment paper, and you can see that it's all ready to go. The top is already floured with the cornstarch powdered sugar mixture, and I'm gonna use this. Now you don't have to do them to be exactly straight. I just thought I'd prefer a straight line as a guide. But part of the charm in making your own marshmallows is they're kind of rustic. But this is actually a cake decorating tool to mold flowers, and I'm gonna just use it as a guide for my pizza wheel, which I'm going to use to cut it. I've already liberally greased it on both sides, and I'm just gonna use that to cut through the marshmallow. Down. You see it cuts through really easy. And after you've made a few cuts, you'll probably have to go back, clean off the wheel and re-grease it. Just so it doesn't start to stick. If you feel like it starts to stick, you can go ahead and do that. Now, another way you can make shapes is to pour the mixture into a piping bag, and see it's already starting to stick, so I'm gonna clean it off and pipe out little dots or whatever you wanna do, but it's infinitely harder because the mixture is so, and you probably hear the water in the background, it is so sticky. So it's a little hard to get into the bag and get it clean out. So cutting them is a little bit easier. And here we have it almost ready for giving. You see my tin of cocoa, my little baggie of marshmallows with a bow, and I added some homemade biscotti that are crispy and perfect for dipping in hot chocolate. And I piled it onto this little basket. You can also use gift bags, would be perfect. But I'm gonna get this wrapped up and get them out to my friends and family. I hope they love it. So if you've never had a homemade marshmallow, I'm telling you to make these. The ingredients are probably already in your pantry. I'm not even a marshmallow lover, but I think these are delicious. They're more creamy than anything I've ever tasted out of a bag. I even stashed away a few for myself to make some puff rice treats later on. So leave your comment below, hit that like button, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Remember, you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and on Twitter, with the links are below, along with the links to the recipes I used in this video. So, Merry Christmas. I hope you all are enjoying your holiday season. And until next time, here's to living simply lavishly. Cheers.